Hello and welcome to Titchfield Festival Theatre and to a preamble about the latest offering in our new play season, The Madman of Loos. Madman of Loos is written by Robert Hall, who has been a friend of ours for many years, and as you can see he's co-opted us all in to working on this new play. We're all dressed in First World War uniforms, so it gives you an idea that it's all about the First World War. So without more ado, let's talk to Robert about his play.
It's the first one for Titchfield Festival Theatre, Kevin, yes. It's not the first one I've written. I have written a couple of others, a couple of full-length ones, one of which I put on in the Barons Court Theatre in Hammersmith that ran in 2012. But this has certainly been the first one for Titchfield and the first one that I've filmed as well, so it's a whole new experience for me. A lot of the characters are based on real people who I know. There's been a lot of research into the First World War itself, the trenches, what life was like there. The cooking scene, for example, is actually a recipe that I took from a historical account of what they ate in the First World War. And cheese really was, for a point of reference, more precious than gold in the trenches in some areas.
From?
I have, yes. I went in '94 back to Ardennes. I say back to. I went to Ardennes with my family a few years back on a holiday there, but it was very emotional, very emotional. Yes, it is. I started writing it in just after the last one. What I performed was completed, so I started it in about 2012. And only had the centenary of the First World War coming up. My brother Philip, actually, he very sadly took his own life the following year, 2013. So I've actually dedicated the play to him for Phil. And the stories, the central characters of Will and Pip are actually older brother, younger brother who dies, are actually based on myself and my brother Phil. The nightmare scene, I actually had a nightmare 20 years before he died, that he would die, and it gave me terrible anxiety for many years after that. That's might sound a little weird, but that's autobiographical. I wanted to look at grief and bereavement and loss, because obviously suicide's a horrible endemic thing in our society these days, and doesn't discriminate for age, sex, gender, or anything like that. And it had a huge effect on my family and my friends who knew Philip as well. We used to do youth theatre at Chichester Festival Theatre, and there's a lot of references to plays and shows we did together whilst we were doing that. So that's a few Easter eggs, if you like. So we've got, yes, a lot of it is very autobiographical. I wanted to look at grief and bereavement, which of course the First World War gave society plenty of that as well. I think it's probably a case of people in our time, our generation. We haven't had a major war or conflict in 70, 80 years. And so understanding, I mean, I love history, that's one of my passions. Understanding what ordinary people went through 100 years ago, fighting for their country, fighting what was essentially a 20th century war with a 19th century mentality behind it, looking at the emotions, the behaviours. I mean, when I write a play, when I wrote this one in particular, I wanted to look at the emotional journey that the First World War would take people on, how it would affect them. So yeah, I think it's seeing how people react to situations that are beyond their control on the whole. I wanted to put a few funnies in it as well. There's a few humorous moments, as well as some very, very sad ones, of course.